All right, everybody, listen. We are talking about messy relationships today. You go from I do to I don't. And we're going to talk about everything messy in between. So, y'all make sure you tell somebody, share, and come on back to Shift Real Talk.
What's popping, y'all?
What's popping?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? How y'all doing today? We are not in the studio today, but we are in the studio.
Right.
But we are back with another dope episode, man. I got my team back with me. I missed y'all last week. Mia went on vacation, and she's still on vacation. I mean, Zadia. But listen, y'all, I'm your boy, Pastor J.
And I'm your girl, Lady Free.
And I'm Zany, y'all.
That's right.
You missed it. No, you did not hit the key.
I did the low one. I had to go
you went low on me today. You went low on me today.
I'm gonna end with the y'all. Okay, I'm gonna do the high y'all at the end.
Yeah.
Do it again, okay? And you are
Zany, y'all.
There you go. I guess. Come on, you took the low. You done went off key today on me.
To the low roll.
We are
here on Shift Real Talk TV. This is our Shift Real Talk podcast, where we keep it real, we keep it raw, and we keep it funky. No cap. We talking about everything from love, life, and relationships. And listen, we want you guys to join in. Make sure you put your comments in there so we can talk back. All right. So, y'all, today we are talking about messy relationships.
Ugh.
When breakups happen, toxic departures, that's the topic. If you know somebody that need to know about these toxic departures and what happened when you break up and it get nasty, then make sure you share this content, because we're going to talk about it. All right?
Why? My question is, why does breakups have to be messy in the first place? Why? Why is that? Why can't it be just like, okay, it didn't work out? You know what I mean? Like, okay, hey, you go your way, I go my way. Oh, hey, we be friends. Let's chop it up. Let's go to some pool or something. Well, you know what I mean? Like, why does it have to be messy? Why does it have to be always? It is always not good. Breakups are not good. You almost hate to do it because it turns out left. It goes left. Right. Why is that? We're gonna deal with that. We're gonna deal with that. Because we're gonna deal with why, because it's gonna come out.
Because you gotta understand, when you are in the relationship, it always start off real nice and it start off real flowery and real beautiful and all of that, right? And then all of a sudden, when it's time to break up, it's a lot of stuff. I don't know about a lot of time for men, but for women, it's a lot of stuff that we held inside that we wish we would have said that we didn't say. It's a lot of hurt and pain that we've dealt with, some things that we just didn't know how to deal with in the relationship, and all of that stuff is held inside. And once that breakup happened and you don't care anymore, it get nasty. That's how I feel about it.
But do we have to get petty? Because all of us have a little bit of petty in us. So do we have to get petty? Do anybody decide to be mature about the situation?
Everybody got.
But pain isn't mature.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
pain
what I'm.
Is not mature.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
No. How you look at pain is not mature. Pain is just an indicator that something's wrong. Pain. We are supposed to feel pain. When you get cut, you feel pain to let you know, hey, you got a cut.
Right. Didn't you just say something's what? Wrong. Exactly. That's nothing good about that. So pain is not like a pretty thing. So of course, at the end of the relationship, there is a lot of pain, suppressed pain, stuff that you've been going through that you've suppressed and held inside. And when it's like this pressure cooker. Once it boil up and you like, okay, you know what? It's done anyway. I'm going to say what I got to say. I don't care how you feel about it. The whole nine. And it just, all that pain comes spewing out.
But that's my question, sis. That's why I said what I said. How you view pain is the difference.
Okay, because so how do you
view pain? Hurt. But that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about a mature person versus the immature person. A mature person going to look at pain and say, okay, I need to do something different. I need to go ahead and heal this properly. Instead, I need to get my ointment. I need to make sure it don't get infected.
Right.
I need to bandage it, change the bandages until it's healed properly. An immature person gonna say, "I'm gonna just throw a band-aid on now and go about my business." But
Or
then you got
look
on
what
the
you did. I'm gonna
inside.
let the blood squirt out on you.
There you go. I'm gonna let
that's
you
how I know.
or suck it.
Right.
That's how I know I miss you guys, because look, y'all take the topic and y'all go. Like it's like the vibe is just like it just.
It's
But
there.
let's rewind a little bit before we
Okay.
even get to
Okay.
that pain, because you there. But
Okay.
let's rewind a little bit.
All
Let's
right.
rewind. Let's
My
rewind.
glasses
Let's
on, so you can see.
Dang, I had the effects, but they ain't working today. But yeah, there you go. Let's rewind a little bit. What studies show, and I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna start with this question. When it comes to breakup, who do you guys think handle breakup the hardest, men or women?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's what I said. Let's slow cook it for a little bit. You know how we got
I
slow
think it
cooking.
depends.
Okay.
I think it depends
Mhm.
because you can get a female that handled a breakup like transparent moment when you and I broke up when we were dating. I handled it very good, I believe, because I had got to the point where I was done. I'm the type of person where I'm going to give you everything I have. And once what I have is no longer good enough, then I've done everything I could. I've exhausted all possibilities. So once I realized that the relationship was not going to go any further and it was no longer healthy for me, we were living together at the time. We were shacking up. We don't approve of that, but we were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, when I was done, I went in the closet. I took all of his clothes. I folded them nice and neat. I put them in a big black garbage bag. I set him at the end of the stairs. Yes, I didn't throw his stuff out the window. I didn't cuss him out. I didn't do any of that. The only thing I did was make sure he understood that all of your stuff is here when you're ready to pick it up, because you got to go.
Studies show.
Wow.
Studies show. Not just studies, but you heard it. You heard it live in 102.5 WBLS. I just gave 2 radio stations in Atlanta and Georgia and then New York.
Okay.
But studies show, and not just studies, my wife just gave y'all an example. Studies show that that everybody deals with it hard, but they say women get over it quickly. They get over it quicker. Women get over the breakup quicker than men do. Men hold on to it a lot more longer. And you'll notice that because when you get into a relationship with a man that just got it from a breakup, then his way to deal with it is to get another woman and to subside, because they can't let go. Women, like she said, I've given all I have. So I've given you an opportunity to be 100 with me. And once you cut being 100, then I'm done. You know what I'm saying? That's most how women look at it.
But it seemed like men get over it quicker because you move on.
No, men deal with it quickly because they have to get over it. So they do things more so to replace what they can't let go. So they go to, that's why how they deal with it. Like that's how we was getting ready to go into the anger and how we deal with stuff, because it's an angry thing. When you used to being with somebody, and you have to now let go. That it causes anger. It causes to detach. You know what I'm saying? It causes you to catch avoidance style cognitive behaviors. You catch a lot of these cognitive distortions from loss. Everybody does not deal with loss the mature way. So when you lose something, especially when you've had it for so long and it is no longer there, that deal with. Oh, you did this to me. You ain't gonna deal it. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And so what we do, we connect. We go. Some men go to drugs. Some men go to smoking.
Alcohol.
Some men go to alcohol. Some men go to other women. Some men go to strip clubs. Some women are good. They detached. They good. They moving on. It wasn't you.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Why you say that?
Because I remember being in a relationship once and it ended, but it didn't end bad. It was a mutual thing that we had to do, our separation. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it took me a long time to get over it because of the fact that I really cared about this person a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time because it was like it wasn't a bad breakup. We wasn't arguing. It wasn't like we was like battling it out to all the way up into the end. It was like, well, you gotta go, I gotta go, and we gotta, so.
And I think that's the difference. Sis. Like, compared, listen to what both of you guys are saying. For a woman, we already processed that thing. We already know we're leaving, right?
Basically.
So we start processing that thing way before it happens. We're just trying to give the man time to get it together, but we already started processing it step by step. So what happens is when we do take it hard, it's because we didn't have that time to process it. Like you said, y'all didn't have like anything harsh in between that made you feel like this about to be over. So it happened suddenly and you didn't have time to process it. So I think that's when women start really having a hard time dealing with the separation, the breakup, is because, hold up, I didn't see this coming. I wasn't ready for this. We didn't process it.
And that's why I said I feel like it depends. Like when he the question that was asked, does women get over the breakup? Do women get over or men get over it easier? Right?
Who has a harder time with getting over the breakup?
That's why I said it depends. It depends on the situation, because women, when we like you said, we know when it's over. Like it was already over like 2 months ago. But I just didn't know. I just didn't want to lose you. I knew whatever the case. But I remember a time when, for me, it was over abruptly. When it's over abruptly like that, you don't have that time as a woman to process. And I think that's when it makes it harder for us. Yeah. Because it was one of them situations where you get cheated on. You in love today. Y'all, you think everything good, he making it seem like, everything is all, nice. And all of a sudden you find out he's cheating, right? Then immediately, I don't know, have you ever been cheated on?
You asking me that, girl? I can write a book about it.
Because when you get cheated on, it's like something in your heart automatically like breaks. And it's like a feeling you can't do nothing about. It's like, dog, what do I do with the feeling of you went out and did something that hurt me, and I didn't do anything. It's like my love for you is there, and all of a sudden I have to make a mental decision where my heart is saying, "Oh, but I love him so much," and my mind is saying, "But he just cheated on you," So when that breakup came, it was one of those things where it was hard for me because I didn't have it wasn't a whole bunch of stuff leading up to the moment when I found out I was being cheated on.
I think y'all and hey Tisha, just saying hey to I forgot to say hey. I said it, but I didn't, But anyway, I say the question was, is it harder for women or is it harder for men to deal with the breakup? And I say it's harder for the person who has a hard time dealing with trauma. And
wow, okay.
Because the thing is, some people plan when they get into relationships, and because they've been through rejection, because they've been through loss, because they've been through certain things in their life, it's harder for them to deal with people who leave their life because they're planning a future. So your future and your plans for the future has crumbled. It disrupts a whole plan that you've put so much effort in making sure that this future was going to come to pass.
Right.
So I believe when you deal with somebody like that, whether it's male or female, it's harder to deal with a breakup. So this is now where all of the trauma and all of the messiness comes from, because now you're dealing with anger. And for some reason, and we were talking about the anger and, hurt. For some reason, people think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I just believe this. I believe some people believe that when they get angry, you hear me more when I'm angry. Like, or you like if I'm screaming at you, I'm getting my point across. Yeah, when I'm cussing you out, you hear me a little better than, and it's like, no, I just shut you out. I don't want to hear, but a lot of people think if I'm upset now, or if I'm just leaving you alone, that you're gonna automatically want to find out what's wrong with me if I just avoid you, or I don't want to talk to you and I don't pick up my phone, or the little immature things that we do that we feel that's going to make this person.
Wait
You know
a
what I'm
minute. Wait a minute. Back it up. You said what?
She said,
Yeah. Or I avoid you, or I don't say nothing. You know, I walk around with an attitude. You know, that's supposed to spark you to what's wrong. You know, that sparks that what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
so you mean so are you still around this person after the breakup? Is that what we're talking about? Because
what I'm saying, I'm saying like we use a lot of these negative emotions to stir up a response instead of just having the conversation, instead of just being mature about it. We use the immature emotions to stimulate a response, and this is what we think is
right,
or to get a reaction from that person, because a lot of times we feel like if we don't get a response, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? Or if they don't react to my feelings, then they really don't care. So we got to show these negative emotions and expect a positive response from a negative emotion.
And you won't.
Right.
You won't get a positive response, and that's the damage of it, because now your feelings hurt, and it is all because the person responded to your negative actions.
I think a lot of times too, the negative actions and the cursing, you know, sometimes people feel like they hurt more when you curse, and when you cursing at somebody or whatever, when you get loud. But I think that in the relationship, those things happen because that's what my pain looks like. Mm-hmm. When I'm going through a breakup, think about what we're talking about, a breakup. This is me and this person. We've been in union, and more than not, especially today, the union includes sex, intimacy, being really close, some people possession. So you have been in close proximity to this person that you have been in a relationship with, and all of a sudden now, like Pastor Jay said, your future has been disrupted. Now we have to make a decision that we're going to go our separate ways. So it's a lot of anger that's there. Like you said, if you've dealt with abandonment in your past, if you've dealt with rejection all your life, if you've dealt with all kind of different things that caused you, how about this, to stay as long as you did in the first place, trying to find love and get love from a person who was not capable of giving it to you, then all of that's going to spew out in the end. Not necessarily because you want a reaction from that person, but it's like, this is what you get when I'm in pain. This is how it looks.
But you know what, Lady Free, sometimes, and that is true for some cases, but I find that a lot of times that's not necessarily how the pain looks. I have to agree with what Pastor Jay said, that sometimes, yes, we are acting out of pain, but we're acting out what we think gonna grab the attention of the person. Because my pain may not look like that, but I'm gonna make sure you understand I'm in pain. So I'm acting out of character now, because that's not my character, and that's not what pain would make me do. Because in my mind telling me to do something else. But I want you to understand you caused me pain. So now I'm gonna act outside of myself so that you know I'm in pain.
But isn't that the same thing as when I'm saying that's what your pain looks like?
No, because that's not what my pain looks like. Like, I'll give an example.
Okay.
I'm about to embarrass myself, but this was when I was young. I was in my 20s. So this is before I got married to my first husband. Hold on.
Hey, Eliza, how you
I got
doing?
married to my first husband. He was in his apartment with another female. I wanted him to know how much I didn't like it. So I called myself. I went for a walk. We was in college. I went for in New Orleans. I went for a walk on the lakefront, and as I on the lakefront walking, I'm thinking, how can I get this man's attention to know that hurt me? Because see, I'm a calm person. That's not that. Even though I was in pain, my pain didn't look like what I'm about to tell you. I purposely did this. So this thought came to my mind: spray yourself in the eye with mace and make him come to your aid, and he gonna have to leave her alone.
Oh wow!
So you know what my stupid butt did? I thought about that, contemplated, like, okay, I can't do it directly in my eye because it's gonna burn. So I'm gonna spray it in the air and let it fall in my eye. So
it still had the same effect.
My stupid butt did that, and it had the same effect.
Did it?
Yeah.
My stupid butt did it, and it had the same effect. And guess what?
Come?
I had no, because you know what I had to do? Now a street was in front of me with cars passing fast. I had to stumble, and I don't know if you know anything about maze. The more every time you open your eye, it burns more.
It burns more, yeah.
So I had to keep opening my eyes
cheat it
to
out,
get hit by a car, to walk to his apartment, to knock on the door and tell him I sprayed myself in the eye with mace. And yeah, she ended up leaving, but I was the joke of the hour. Both of them was laughing while he called the ambulance for my stupid behind.
Wait, you told
huh?
You actually told him you sprayed yourself. You didn't make up like somebody tried to mug you or something.
No,
well, she had to come
I didn't tell him why, but I told him that I accidentally sprayed myself in the eye with mace. That's not what my pain looked like.
Yeah,
that's why I made my pain look like.
Yeah. Elijah said it turns toxic because they are not in agreement with the breakup.
I agree.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. But I also agree that it becomes toxic because we don't deal with the reality of the breakup. We deal with the emotions of the breakup. We don't deal with the reality that this just not going. The reality states that this is just not going to work. Right now, we're just not on the same page.
Right.
Which goes to what she said, the agreement on it. But I believe it becomes toxic because we deal with so much. We deal more so emotionally of the breakup, like what we've done to one another, as opposed to you just could have been honest with me. Well, how could I have been honest with you? I can't even talk to you now. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you could have just said it. Oh, you didn't have to just drag me. No, you don't know how I deal with, how I deal with, maybe it's hard for me to communicate how I really feel. So a thing, like I said, we never deal with each other's reality. Because again, because you may be dealing with somebody who really has a hard time expressing themselves, because of whatever could have happened in their life when they may feel inadequate with themselves. So because they have this inadequate feeling, they may not have the confidence of just saying, how they feel. They may have to skate around it, and you may be dealing with somebody who's give it to me straight. Don't lie to me. Give it to me straight how it is. But because these two are different people, you want to know why you didn't tell me straight up. And I'm like, well, I couldn't because I just didn't know how. So now we're dealing with how you how you hurt me by not doing that. So we're dealing with the emotion. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just saying, okay, look, I just can't be with somebody who has an emotional or communication problem because I like to be communicated with. You know what I'm saying? So the reality is, you don't talk, I like to talk. This is not going to work. Instead of,
I like what Eliza said. She said the reality shows up before the breakup.
Yes.
It's just, are you willing to accept?
Exactly.
That's true, Eliza.
That's true, Eliza.
Because
that is so true.
like we was talking about before, as women, we process things as the relationship goes on. We know in our own hearts and in our minds when the relationship is over. We still there trying to make it work because we really don't want to let this person go. But at the end of the day, we have to face reality. The reality says this is what this relationship is all about.
Eliza preached a sermon just now. That was the doors of the church are now. Are you willing to accept the reality? And that's where the struggle comes. Because she's right. It shows up way before the breakup.
Way before.
But we try to push past that reality.
Yeah.
We push past it. Yeah. Because we feel like I'm the one that maybe can make sense out of this reality. I might can change it.
Right.
I may God put something in me that I can help. I can help it. So now she's become a project instead of understanding that this is the reality of the situation. And that's where it gets toxic.
And what happens with a project? When you have a project that you keep working on and it's not turning out the way you imagine it to turn out, frustration sets in.
Right.
And then either you want to break it, you want to throw it away, and so that's what happens in a relationship, because now you then took on a project and the other person is not giving you what you thought you was about to get from the things you're doing. Yeah. And now it's becoming toxic, because that's what just be real. That's what it becomes, because now I hate you. It just becomes real toxic in the house.
Yeah. And the person that you once loved, oh my God, I'm so in love. All of a sudden, that's the person that you're looking at with disdain. Like, you almost hate this same person that you once claimed that you loved, all because you couldn't communicate with that person throughout the relationship in a way that would yield good results. I think a lot of times too, I was telling Pastor Jay, we look at life wrong. We look at life more natural than spiritual. And even though we are natural beings, we are spiritual first, especially when you have Christ in your life, right? And God will show you some things that'll blow your mind and make you say, whoa, I never would have looked at it. I never thought about it like that. If you think about it the way God downloaded and the way he give it to you, you'll be able to solve a lot of issues in not only your your marriage, in your relationship, but in yourself. Because we have to remember, the reason why our relationships get messy and breakups be handled the way they handled is because of the individual first. It comes from the individual first. The most important person in a relationship is you, whether you're the man or whether you're the woman. It's you, because you have to come together. You have to sacrifice your own ideologies of what marriage is supposed to look like. You have to die to yourself. You have to be healed from a lot of stuff you've gone through. You have to love yourself, and now that you love yourself, you can love others. You have to do all that. And if you don't have you in check, if you don't have you in the place that you're supposed to be in, mentally, physically, spiritually, then that relationship is not going to ever come together in a union of one, because it'll always be you and it'll always be him.
Let's be honest here. Because we always tie it into scripture. We have to go scripture.
Yes.
So as she says that, and it's so true, I'm reminded of that story of Jacob and Esau, how Esau was promised the birthright, but God the whole time wanted Jacob to get it, because he knew that Jacob would be way more responsible than Esau. But what happened was Esau finagled his way, him and his mama finagled his way to getting the birthright. So they were Jacob. They were deceptive getting it, not knowing that all he had to do was wait on God. But what they did was did it themselves. And that became his whole story. He did everything out of fear. He did everything out of deception. He did everything wrong. He did not. And even with all of that, God said, guess what? I'm still going to bless you. He went, and then, so with that being said, he got deceived himself, had to work 14 years. He fell in love with Rachel, but married Leah, and still had to come back around. Had 10 sons with Leah, had 2. Now, when Rachel had the second son, she passed. So this is what caused him to get so close to Joseph. But the whole thing came around where his sons, that whom he loved, I'm sure he loved, that's his sons, his seeds. They deceived him by telling him what happened to Joseph. But the whole time, God had, out of everything that went down, the deception from him, the deception from his sons, the everything that happened, it was all in God's plans, getting ready for that famine to come. Because if it wasn't for Joseph, they would have been hungry. They would have been probably cast away, probably died, because they wouldn't have had no way to get the food on the 7 years of famine. So the point that I'm saying is that no matter what it looks like, I don't care what it looks like. It may look toxic. It may look bad. It may look like we don't even think it should look. The point is, we got to really consult God about every move that we make, because sometimes we move before God. Sometimes we move instead of God. Sometimes we say, God, hold on, I'm going to still find out what this is. Or wait a minute, God, I don't want to go over here, so I'm going to go over here. And what we do is not understanding that God is probably taking us that way anyway, but not right now.
So I have a question. All of that, that the story that you just said with Joseph and everything, how can you tie that into toxic relationships? The point,
that's what I was saying. It's like when everything that you do, a lot of things that we do it without God. We don't consult God. But if we consult God, the way that we think that we should go is probably the way God is taking us. But he is preparing the way for us to get there. But what we do is we deceive our way through it and we mess it up. You know what I'm saying? We lie our way through it and we mess it up. we emotionally put ourselves in the situations and we mess it up and not allow God to do it. Because when God does it, he fixes everybody in the situation so that now when we're in the situation, it ain't us doing it ourselves. It's God put it together.
Come on.
God put it together. He wouldn't have had to deceive his father if he allowed God to do it, because God chose him anyway.
And when it comes down to relationships, sometimes we got to understand that just because it looked bad, just because it didn't work out, doesn't mean that it's still not something God can use as a part of the plan to get us to the destination and the purpose he had for us. Because every situation that you've ever read about in the Word of God that was not good, that was bad, he still used it. So we have to look at, like you said, reality in the relationship in order for it to no longer become a toxic departure. Okay, we broke up, but we knew this wasn't gonna work out. We knew that we was going down the wrong road. We knew that things weren't, but that doesn't mean we can't get ourselves together and come back. Just because we separated don't mean we can't come back. And if it's not meant for us to come back, guess what? There's still a plan in place for us to have a good life, but we just can't have it together. We got to start learning how to talk to people about the pain. Okay, we're not together no more. Sometimes when you break up is the best time to have a good, wholesome conversation about the breakup, because now you don't have nothing to lose. But you don't have to fuss and argue. That person don't have to hide nothing from you. Yes.
Free, you said a mouthful though, because a lot of times when we connect with people, and if we have that connection, we automatically think it's supposed to be intimate, in an intimate relationship.
Automatically.
But what if God don't even connect you for that purpose? What if you misunderstood the purpose of the connection? Now you tainted it because, like y'all said, now your emotions evolved. You're mad because it didn't work out. I don't want to talk to you, but you missed the whole purpose of the connection. And now that you separated from the purpose, now you gotta allow God to heal you, because you're gonna end up coming right back having to deal with that purpose, that person, because the purpose still needs to be fulfilled.
Right.
It's just that you assumed the connection was supposed to be intimate, and it may not have been that at all.
Because I was finna break out. I'm finna blow your mind. Can I blow your mind? One time,
blow my mind.
This is the interesting part about relationships God has been teaching me. I married, and I told Pastor Jay, I married my spoon. What does that mean? Just like a cup that sits on the counter with water in it, and debris gets in it, and little particles, dust, and all that stuff, and it settles all the way down to the bottom. That's us, right? So we think we good because all of the mess and all of the dirt and everything that we got on the inside of us is at the bottom, and we got it under control until something happens. A spoon comes along and gets in that cup and stirs up what's in that cup. Now I can't get mad about about the spoon stirring up what's inside of me, because sometimes God will use that spoon to stir up what's inside the cup so that we can see that it's there. Once we see that it's there, then what can God do? God can say, okay, now let me work on that. Okay, now that you see that it's there, let me deal with that. If he does something to aggravate me or bother me or make me mad, what can I say? Okay, Lord, what is inside of me that's wounded that made me get so angry because he did that? Because somebody else can come along and may not even get upset about that thing, because it's not something wounded inside of them. It's not some debris that's sitting and settled down on the inside of them. So I married my spoon, right?
You're wrong for that.
He married his spoon too, and that's the beauty of the relationship. We are married to people. We are in relationship with people. We are family with people that stir up certain things. Because if it was a random person, it would never bother us at all that they said or did a certain thing. It'll be like, okay, that's a non-factor, whatever. But when it's somebody you love and they hit a certain wound inside of you, it causes you to have to deal with, oh, dog, I thought Red was dead. Oh, you gonna make Red come up out, but if Red wasn't inside of you, Red couldn't come up out of you. You know what I'm saying? If Shaquisha wasn't in there, Shaquisha couldn't resurrect. So in order for God to see his reflection in our lives, we have to get down in some of that debris, allow it to come up, and then deal with it. So in relationships, sometimes we get so upset with our partner because our partner is doing things to stir up some of the stuff that's already inside of us anyway. So now our focus becomes on that person for what they did to us instead of our focus being on dog. Why is that still even in me anyway? So I thank him now because I said I think we see life wrong. Sometimes I thank him now because when he does certain things, it make me say, wow, okay, I didn't know that was still something that bothered me. So I deal with that first. And then we can deal with what you said to me and I'll pop out now play.
You wrong for that. You wrong for that.
What you mean?
Because I promise you, I was getting ready to say the same exact thing.
These relationships,
it is so because what we do is we tell God what we're not going to deal with.
Yeah.
And God is saying, no, this is why I have you dealing with that, because I'm trying to bring that what's inside of you outside. I'm trying to bring it up out of you. And you telling God, I'm telling God, I'm not right. I'm not going to deal with that.
I ain't got to face that.
Yeah. And God is saying, face it, because this has to come out of you.
It has to come out.
Hey, Liza, I like what you said. Let me read what Eliza said. She said, that's why you have to make sure you're pouring into a clean cup. I like that, but that's not realistically because we all have dirt. We all have something deep down in us that needs to be healed, that we have buried, that we don't deal with. But like you said, when that loved one come and touch it, stir it up, right? People are like, ooh, what? Like if we don't ask the right questions, like you said, we would blame the person. Right. But if we ask the right question, we'd be like, why did that bother me?
Why did it bother me?
When he said that, why did that bother me so bad? Because if anybody else said it, like you said, that wouldn't have bothered me. Why did that bother me? Yeah. Because then you could deal with what you have in you that's unhealed. And we all have something in us that is unhealed.
Right.
That's right. And look at this. And see, I missed y'all last week. God. But going back, but tying this all together, understand what the enemy does. We give the enemies power, and we say the enemy is attacking us. The enemy don't attack. He can't even do that. But what he can do is influence. But he's so cunning with his influence that he influences where you're weak at. He influences where you get triggered at. Yeah. So he'll throw something real subtle in to trigger that weakness. Yeah. And now you are all emotionally distraught. And then you saying the devil attacked me. No, he just gave you some candy. Right. Knowing you can't eat candy. And he made the candy look so pretty.
It in your face.
Put that candy in your face. Right. You know what I'm saying? And all you did was like, should I eat it or should I not eat it? You know what? Because we make the choice. He don't make us make the choice.
He don't make us make the choice.
We make the choice. But he influences that choice.
We have been given dominion over what the devil took from our forefathers, Adam and Eve now. And now that we have it, we still want to blame somebody. It was that woman, it was the serpent. No, it was me.
Hold on, my brother just blood. What's up, Dave?
Dave. It was me. It was me. I'm the one that got upset. It's like, you can't make something come up out of me.
You can't make
that's not already in me.
You done made me curse.
It was
inside of you already.
And we gotta stop looking at the fruit. The fruit is pornography. I'm watching pornography to get my needs met. The fruit is I cheated. The fruit is I'm smoking. The fruit is I'm drinking. But the root of it is what? The root is rejection. The root is abandonment. The root is insecurities. All of these roots in the ground that's nourishing this bad fruit in our life.
That's right.
And we sitting up here getting mad at everybody else who God sends along to touch you in a certain way to help you understand that fruit right there is bad. Mm-hmm. So now you mad at the person that God sent into your life, i.e. more than anything, it's going to be your spouse.
Yeah.
I just want to get married. I want to have somebody to go on trips with. I want to have somebody to spend the rest of my life with. Yeah. No, what you just did was you came in covenant with somebody that's going to stir you up in ways that God needs to purify you. And when he stirs you up or when she stirs you up, you get mad. You get volatile.
Jump ship before you supposed to.
And God said,
God said, wait a minute, hold on. I'm doing something in you.
That's all right, my darling. That's all right. I'm going to send somebody else.
But you know what he did? That's what he did. I had to go. I went full circle because again, I did what Jacob did. I thought Esau was still after me after 20 years. I thought he still was gonna kill me. I thought he was still coming after me.
Who's
so
coming after
no,
you?
I'm just saying. I'm using that as an example.
Analogy.
Even after 20 years, he still ran from Esau. After Esau hugged him, after he did everything to show him he done let that go. We good. He still said, I'm not going there because he still might kill me. He still might do so. In our head, we thinking that it's gonna go wrong. In our head, we thinking that it's not gonna work.
Right.
All things, and I say this in almost every episode, all things work together. Even though we think in our head that the plan of God is for us, for His will to be done in our life, whether we do it voluntarily or involuntarily. Right. Because you can go the long way, or you can just allow God to do it. And it becomes messy when we do it our way. When we say, all right, you know what? He's still after me. He's still trying to kill me. So I'm gonna go this way. Instead of allowing God to work on, because that's what He does. He works on the heart. He works on the heart. So He's working no matter what you think. And we thinking in our head, oh, they don't like me. Or we don't put all these thoughts in our head while God is working on their heart.
Right. Or how Go ahead, Zane.
And I would say, I love this scripture, Hebrews 10:24. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works.
That's
so
right.
It goes right along to what y'all said. To provoke. Provoking is not a good feeling. When you provoke me, you don't know what may come out of me. Don't provoke me. But we're provoking to love and good works. That's why, going back to what we keep saying, you got to change how you viewing it. Stop viewing it as that's your enemy, or that he don't love you or he don't like you. No, it triggers something in you because it's going to produce love and good works.
And if it wasn't in you, it wasn't triggered, right? So you have the nerve to get upset with the person that's triggering something on the inside of you and be mad and think, oh, well, if I just separate from it or leave that person or we ain't together no more, everything gonna be okay. But what you don't realize is that person was helping you bring stuff up out of you. Now you think you good because you got somebody that's only telling you, oh my God, you so cute. Oh my God. No, that person is the same person that the enemy said, okay, you know what? You in. And put him in the game and kept you distracted and kept you sitting over there on the sideline comfy. When God says, I don't need you to be comfortable. Now is not the time. The world we live in is not a comfortable place. I need my people soldiers. I need my people not to have that debris up in them. So if I got to send sister to come up in here and get you angry about something just so you can realize, oh my God, that's still in me. Then you have to ask God, why did that bother me? Then you have to go back and say, wow, the reason why that bothered me is because when I was young, it always stemmed back to something like when you was young. And it don't have nothing to do with the spouse. The spouse just made a mistake and just so happened to do something that touched something in you they had no clue was there. Because you didn't even know it was still there. So now you mad at the wrong person when you should be in the end. When y'all break up, let's say y'all broke up, you need to go back to that person and say, you know what? Thank you. Because if it wasn't for you, I would have never saw that I still had that ugly inside of me. Thank you. Because you did jump up in my face and, we had our little, knockdown drag out. But at the end of the day, it made me realize, dog, I'm just like my daddy. When my daddy used to do this and this and this, and I don't like that about myself. And I hated that you showed that part, that you made that part of me come up out of you. That's why I lashed out at you instead of turning it inward and saying, man, what's wrong with me?
Come on.
What's wrong with me? Why do breakups get messy? Because we blame everybody else, just like Adam and Eve did. And we do not look on the inside and say, man, it was me all along.
I don't have a plate, but I got a piece of paper. I'm sitting around the offering table or the paper. If y'all want to give unto this word, sow into this good ground.
This is for real, y'all. This is so serious because, and I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, y'all.
No.
We don't realize this about relationship. We'll never understand the beauty of what a marriage is.
Come on.
It's a beautiful thing because God said everything he created was good. We turned it into something bad because we have idolized our own opinion about what detergent worked best because my mama used to use Tide and you bought Gain up in here and we petty. We mad because this person don't love me because they ain't showing me love like I feel like. And God says, look, I've been trying to love you, but I can't get to you because you got so much debris. You got so many insecurities. You got all of this stuff. And instead of you saying, God, what is going on with me? You point at the person I sent to show it to you.
Right. Elijah said earlier that you got to pour into a clean cup. But that cup, the only way that cup can be clean is if it's emptied out.
Power in the blood.
So you got to empty the cup out so that now it can be clean, and then now it can be poured into.
Right.
So the whole purpose is let it pour it out.
Growing pains.
Yeah.
It hurts to see that nasty in you.
Yeah.
But we don't want to see it, y'all. We got to start looking on the inside, because when God says, okay, now when I look at Lady Free, he going to look and say, okay, she got a little more work to do. He going to say, Pastor J, do this. And Pastor J going to do it. I'm going to be like,
oh, really? You ain't gonna do that. You don't want none of this. You don't want no. I'm for the ATL shouting.
ATL.
Hey, you had to hear her do her little ATL and they shout like,
oh my God,
like that, shout it.
But I see my husband's. I see certain things he do now. It's like, okay, why did that bother me?
Because stuff she do now, it don't even like even today. You know, she still say my mouth is a little sharp, but that's how I talk.
He's sarcastic.
That's how I talk. But the good thing about it today though is that she don't bite, because she used to bite back, and I'm like,
you know why? I'm gonna tell you why.
Why
because
you biting?
My mama
I ain't
was sarcastic,
yeah.
and when I was growing up, me and my mama did not get
along. And you
along.
had to get rid of that.
And she used to be rich. She used to use her little sarcastic jokes, and
I ain't your mama.
But you were doing something that she
triggered that was
that
inside
used to bother me, that made
you.
me feel insecure or belittled, or like she was making me the butt of the joke, and I couldn't do nothing back because she was my mama. She's sweet now, don't get me wrong, but my mama, that's how she guarded herself. She would be sarcastic. So when he would be, I had to realize that when he would be sarcastic, it reminded me of that. And then I'll be like, look, I ain't finna be the butt of your jokes, and I get mad because it was what I would have wanted to say back then. But God had to heal me of that. But I still say, dude, you don't have to be sarcastic. Now I say that's a very immature way to communicate.
Yes. So she's subtly trying to throw back instead of blatantly.
I just be honest. That's a very immature way to communicate. All you had to do was answer the question.
And here's the funny thing about that, right? Because you think you're responding to your spouse for what they said, and they look at you like, well, what did I do? Like, why did I get that reaction? Like, I didn't do nothing. Yeah. But you like, yes, you did. You know what you did.
Right. Right. And now y'all big man. Right.
Whoa.
Right.
You gonna control how I answer your question?
And then those things,
you ain't gotta be immature. Like what?
And then those things constantly happen throughout the relationship. They constantly happen, and you never really know how to pinpoint what it is I need to tell this person to help them understand what they're doing to me, because I just didn't understand. That's why we gotta go to God. That's why we gotta keep God in the middle, because He'll tell secrets. He'll be like, okay, the reason why that bothered you is because, and then you'll be like, oh my God. So it wasn't him I was mad at. It was my mama.
Come on. Okay. All right.
And then he can heal you.
Send around the offering plate. Good.
And just notice when your husband when God start healing you from some things, you'll start seeing your husband respond differently and react differently to things, because now that thing don't bother you no more. And all of a sudden you wondering why he better and why he responded differently.
Come on, girl.
Because you heal, boo.
My Louisiana coming out. Come on, girl.
A sanctified woman, you getting sanctified. A sanctified woman, what? Sanctifies her whole house. And you wonder why he better. You wonder why he looking at you like, wow, okay, you glowing. Yes, baby, because I ain't got the debris.
Yeah.
The doors of the church are now open. If you want to sow into this good soil.
No more debris. And no more debris.
Tithes and offering. We're taking tithes and offering.
I'm trying to get healed. I don't care what nobody say. Oh, you letting your man. Oh, honey, I'm trying to be healed. Forget all of that. I'm trying to be healed. No more debris.
Tithes and offering. We 10%. Give it to God, and He will bless you.
You know, people act funny when they get their nails done. I'm like, no more debris. Girl, like.
Give unto God. Give unto God. Give unto the. Sow seed unto this good ground.
Yeah, man. We got to
Lady Free. Girl.
Sow seed unto this good ground. Hallelujah.
That's right. Sow seeds unto Shift Real Talk TV.
So how would you guys say, how do you leave, and especially if you understand that a breakup is needed, and sometimes a breakup is needed though, because sometimes if we don't separate, then we'll continuously, we'll bust the pipe and still try to fix it ourselves, because the thing is, sometimes we have to let it go so that God can now come in, because what we're doing is we're putting the pressure on the pipes, and we don't have the capacity to. We're not pipe fixers,
right?
We're not supposed to fix the problem, but sometimes staying in certain situations will cause us to break the situation and keep trying to fix it, knowing that it's broken. So how would you guys say, or what would you say would be the best way to leave a situation, knowing the hard cold truth that I have to.
So I'm gonna share what my mom shared with me, because I remember with my first husband, I called my mom and I said, "It's time, I'm leaving." And I was in a domestic violence situation, and my mom had for years had wanted me to leave. So this, what I'm about to say, surprised me. She let me get it all out, and then she said, "Do me a favor." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Don't leave yet until you feel like you have done everything that was within your power that you could have done. If you feel like you have not exhausted every avenue that you could have taken," she said, "don't leave then." She said, because what you will find yourself doing is going back and forth, either in your mind, in your heart, or physically in the relationship, because there's something else I could do. There's something else I could have done. She said, so I need you to wait until you feel like you've done everything that was within your power. And that even took, prayer for me, because I went back after we hung up the phone. I went back into prayer and I said, okay, God, what is it that I have not done that I feel like I have done? And God had to show me. I went back into that situation, and when I left, I literally was able to walk away with clean hands, clean heart, clean thoughts. Everything was sure, because I did when I say everything, I did everything possible when I actually walked away.
Okay.
Man, y'all. Hey, Shania Hill McGaney.
Hey,
thank
Shania.
you. Man, y'all, man, listen, y'all.
I think I'm gonna answer real quick. What should you do when you feel like that the relationship ending is inevitable, it's necessary, right? I feel like you, Zany, make sure that when you leave knowing that, number one, this is something you're doing because you've already went to God and consulted God about it. And you feel as though, because we don't always get it right. We're not perfect beings. So we may leave because I need to be healed. I need to get away. I need to separate myself from the situation so I can get myself together. If you have peace with yourself knowing that this situation needed to happen, then I feel like the best thing you could do is have that conversation, a real conversation. Because just like at a restaurant, people will never become a better restaurant if you never put in a little thing that says, this is what I didn't like about it. You have to be honest with that person and say, well, the reason why is because, regardless of whether they get angry or not, a lot of times we base it on whether or not they're not going to receive it. They already mad. But you have to be willing to have that conversation. This is what didn't work.
If I had to answer it, I would say, make sure that you're leaving with the reality of, I am losing control. Because what happens is when it doesn't go the way we desire it to go, then we take control on the side, on the sneak side. We still try to take control and get what we feel that we need, even in the breakup.
Yeah.
So even with the breakup, we still try to manipulate because we still need to be fulfilled some kind of way. Whether it's I'm gonna break up and you hurting, or
I'm gonna hurt you like you hurt
I'm
me.
gonna hurt you like you
Yeah.
hurt me. So if we just leave with the reality that I just need to lose control because everything that I'm doing is not working.
When you say lose control, explain that.
Meaning that stop trying to control the situation.
Lose it.
Lose control.
Lose it.
Lose the control. Give your control to go. Hey, cuzzo, what's going on? Lose the control. Know that now everything that I've done, it didn't work. So now I'm going to allow God to do what I need to do. Like Jacob, he took things into his own hands.
Yeah.
Instead of losing the control. But what that caused him to do is now his whole life was manipulated by his decision.
Yeah.
And because he felt like he still had to be in control, he deceived to try to still get what he wanted when God was already going to give it to him. So my point is, lose the control.
Lose it.
So that you don't have to manipulate to get what you want. Because when God does it, it is incomplete. It's complete.
Yeah. Lose it like you lose one of them socks in the dryer that you can't find. Like, you know, socks. Go. I don't understand it. Yeah, lose it. Lose the control. Say, you know what? Nah.
Yeah, I'm
gone.
Yeah, we gotta go because
gone.
My way not working, and there's some things that I need to work on for me. So we have to, and there's not, and I believe that there's nothing wrong with taking that time, especially if you need it. Take the time. With the intentions of allowing God to do what He needs to do.
Right.
Because when you do that, then God will bring it to what it needs to be.
To what it needs to be.
Or what He already planned
together, or whether it's going to be apart. 9
times out of 10. See, the thing is, Jacob would have had Rachel, but he was so into his emotions, he married somebody that he didn't even see. He didn't even see. He didn't even know that was Leah. He didn't know.
What makes you think he was in his emotions, though?
Because he was so in love and thought that he was getting what he wanted, what he desired. This is what I want. I want to be married. So, but because he wanted to be married, nobody said we getting married. So he didn't even take the opportunity or the time to uncover the veil. It was like, I'm getting married, and this is Rachel.
Married, period.
This is Rachel, and the point was, because he was so deceptive, and it was almost, I felt like, and this is me, probably be saying, but I feel like because he was so deceptive, it was like he didn't even want to kind of deal with the fact that, let me find out if this is her or not. So when
he was drunk.
True.
Wasn't he drunk, Bill?
I don't remember him being drunk.
I don't remember him being drunk. I believe he didn't take the time to look. He didn't take the time to look at who he was getting ready to marry. But you better hurry up. We got 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Hurry up and look.
What was his name?
Jacob.
I think he had trusted the father. I don't think he was drunk. I think
that was his uncle. He was related to him.
He trusted the father to do right because he did the job.
He was collecting payment. That's what it was. He was collecting payment. Yeah. But the point is, I got to get what I want. You know what I'm saying? This is what I want. And not allowing God to do it, because he probably would have got it in the first place.
But look, check that out. The trickster did not expect to be tricked.
Yeah.
That's how it go. When
that's how it goes.
That's what happens when that cup is full of dirt.
You don't even see your own dirt.
You ain't even looking. You ain't looking for because you trying to cover your dirt.
Y'all listen, our time is almost gone, but we gonna have to revisit this conversation, because I think towards the end of the podcast, we start really getting into like the messy and how we need to fix this messy. I want to talk more about like looking inside, like stop blaming. Don't blame me. That's the name of that podcast. Don't blame me. Stop blaming me. Blame yourself.
Yeah, because that's what we do. We point fingers.
Blame yourself.
And we look at everything that they do wrong.
Right.
And we don't look at ourselves.
Right.
We don't look at ourselves at all.
Yeah.
We start blaming. Well, if she did that, well, he did this. Well, he ain't making me feel like he loved me. And the thing is too, what do most women look for when it comes to marriage? They look to be what? love.
Love.
Men look to be respected.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna break down what those are. We got what do you call it, synonyms, what do you call it, acronyms. We got acronyms for love and respect. We're gonna give that to you next week. But it's awesome. But in the meantime, in between, my sound machine ain't working, y'all. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I got.
What was that note?
Yeah, it's supposed to do the the confetti. Yeah. I had the New York confetti and all that stuff, man.
Well, y'all, until next time, make sure that you share. As a matter of fact, take some time right now, a moment of silence, to share. Share. I want you to abuse that like in that heart button. I want you to ba, because we need more people to understand about love, life, and relationships. And here on Relationship Real Talk, we gonna keep it real, okay? But we also gonna back it up with the word. We talk a lot of shit,
but we can back it up.
And we back it up with the word. Until next time, guys. I'm your girl, Lady Free.
I'm your boy, Pastor J.
And I'm Zany, y'all.
All right. Until next time. Peace.